Millions sleep 4 hours a night and swear they have adapted. But within days, reaction times crater, hunger hormones flip, and the brain quietly stops cleaning itself. The real damage is not what you feel, it is what you do not. 4 hours of sleep might feel like a shortcut, but beneath the surface, the brain is quietly losing ground. In a landmark experiment led by Hans van Dongen, healthy adults were limited to just 4 hours in bed each night for 2 weeks. Their performance on the psychomotor vigilance task, a simple test tracking reaction time, dropped steadily. After 14 days, their lapses had climbed by over 70% compared to those sleeping 8 hours. These were not minor slips. Participants missed critical cues, hesitated on basic responses, and showed the kind of delayed reactions that, in the real world, could mean a missed stoplight or a costly workplace error. The damage was not just in speed. Working memory, the brain's scratchpad for holding and manipulating information, stalled out. While well-rested people improved with practice, those stuck at 4 hours saw no gains at all. The brain's ability to consolidate what it learns each day, turning new experiences into stable memories, depends on deep slow-wave sleep. But after a week of short nights, slow-wave sleep shrank by 25%. This meant less time for the brain to clear out the clutter and reinforce what matters. Perhaps most unsettling, people did not realize how far they had slipped. Even as their reaction time slowed and mistakes piled up, their self-rated sleepiness barely changed. The brain, running on half its usual recovery time, masked its own decline. Day by day, the gap between how alert people felt and how impaired they actually were only grew wider. The risk was not just fatigue, it was a silent erosion of the very skills needed for safety, learning, and clear thinking. The chemistry of hunger and stress begins to tilt after just a few nights of 4 hours sleep. Blood samples show a clear pattern. Leptin, the hormone that signals fullness, drops by about 15%, while ghrelin, which triggers hunger, surges by 25%. The result is a body that feels hungrier than it should, especially in the late evening. People in these studies often find themselves raiding the kitchen for snacks they would not normally crave. Chips, cookies, anything high in sugar or starch. These cravings are not just about willpower, they are written into the bloodstream. Cortisol, the body's main stress hormone, also refuses to settle down. Instead of following its usual pattern, high in the morning and low at night, it stays stubbornly elevated into the evening, up to 30% higher than normal. This flattening of the daily curve leaves the body in a state of low-grade stress, which not only makes it harder to relax, but also nudges blood sugar higher and encourages fat storage around the waist. Growth hormone, which normally pulses during deep sleep to repair tissues and build muscle, barely makes an appearance. Most people lose that early night surge almost entirely. Meanwhile, the body's response to sugar begins to falter. After 5 nights of short sleep, insulin levels after a meal rise by 18%, a sign that cells are growing resistant and glucose is lingering in the blood. Even before the immune system falters, the internal environment is already primed for weight gain, cravings, and metabolic strain. The body's balance has quietly shifted, long before the consequences are obvious. Getting by on 4 hours of sleep doesn't just make you foggy, it quietly lowers your guard against every virus and bug you meet. In a controlled experiment, volunteers who slept less than 6 hours for just 1 week were 2.6 times more likely to catch a cold after being exposed to the rhinovirus, compared to those who slept 8 hours. That risk climbs as sleep drops. 4-hour nights push the immune system even further off balance. Blood tests tell the story. Interleukin-6, a key inflammation signal, rises by about 45%, while C-reactive protein jumps 30%, numbers that flag a body stuck in a state of chronic, low-grade alarm. This simmering inflammation doesn't just make you feel run down, it leaves you more vulnerable to every passing illness. Even vaccines work less well. People restricted to 6 hours or less for just a few nights produce about half the normal number of antibodies after a flu shot, blunting the body's memory for future defense. The result is familiar: more sneezing, more sick days, and longer recoveries. For millions who push through work and family life on short sleep, the real price isn't just tired eyes, but a body with its defenses quietly eroding, one night at a time. Deep sleep is when the brain's cleaning crew gets to work. During these hours, the glymphatic system, first mapped by Macon Nedergaard and Lulu C., flushes out waste using waves of cerebrospinal fluid. But when sleep is cut to 4 hours, this system slows dramatically. In rodent experiments, glymphatic flow dropped by almost half after a single night of sleep loss, leaving metabolic byproducts like amyloid beta to linger. Human imaging tells a similar story. PET scans after just a week of short sleep show a 20% rise in amyloid binding in the cortex, a protein linked to Alzheimer's disease. This is not just a temporary blip. Epidemiological studies estimate that people who routinely get only 4 hours of sleep may face 1.5 to 2 times the risk of developing dementia over the next decade. With every night of short sleep, the brain's ability to clear out toxic debris is quietly eroded, turning what feels like a harmless habit into a long-term threat to memory and to overall cognitive health. Sleep isn't optional upkeep. It's the body's essential repair. Cut it short, and invisible damage accumulates, day after day. The cost isn't lost hours, it's lost health. How much are you willing to risk?